Man, the net just isn't what it used to be, but we're seeing a massive shift to ditch megacorp-owned social websites for decentralized, this isn't about crypto, and user-owned data and platforms, and it will change everything for years to come. Used to, we had weird flash games, everyone had blogs where they curated their special interests, competed to see who had the best band fan page, or poured their hearts out in them. Instant messaging was a thing we chose to log into and log out of so that it wouldn't disrupt the rest of our day. And we could customize at least the background image of our profile pages, if not completely change everything. The web was weird, and it was great. But the past decade and a half has gotten super corporate, centralized, boring, and about as unhealthy as it gets. Things are getting exciting again, but for those of us who weren't locking ourselves in our bedrooms during grade school and middle school, it can be really confusing to navigate. Mastodon, decentralized internet, federated services, so much jargon all of a sudden. Let's make it super easy, as I could not be more excited that people are finally getting into this side of the net. Let's get you up to speed, talk about why I'm stoked, and set up who should and should not sign up. Speaking of ownership and control over your data, I have my own video streaming site, Nebula, that I built with my creator friends, and you can sign up for that with our bundle with CuriosityStream, linked below.
Space Car Emerald Boy overpaid for Bird App and won the speed run for burning it to the ground. While the cultists keep assuring each other this is some 4D chess play, many like yourself have started looking elsewhere. Along with the surprise that Tumblr actually got bought away from Yahoo and has slowly been on the rise again, you may have encountered no end of talk about services like Mastodon and something called the Fediverse. There's a lot of layers, like an onion, and while it sounds easy to get lost in, it's actually simple as a concept. You too can become a master of the Fediverse in no time at all.
Don't be like these people writing articles about how they couldn't find anyone on Mastodon or started to cry. We're going to make it easy. Mastodon is a social networking site. It aims to hold that distinction of social networking versus social media, where social media is about amassing followers and producing content under the veil of parasocial relationships. Meanwhile, social networking is just about making friends and having conversations, meeting people. Who knew? It's more akin to a bunch of Discord servers, AIM chat rooms, or a bunch of different mailing lists than what Twitter actually is. Being social on the internet used to mean adding people to your friends list, chatting directly with them, and joining group chats for shenanigans or specific topics, not farming for likes, quote retweeting to dunk on people, and clamoring for check marks. Before you learn more, go on and sign up. I'll link a couple places you can sign up in the description. Those servers are regularly closing registration, or at least limiting it for temporary windows to help mitigate some of the massive influx of users right now and to keep servers from exploding. You can also sign up on the mobile apps as well. There's an official app now, but on Android, everyone seems to recommend Tusky instead, as the official one is missing some features. And on iOS, you have Metatext, which is what I use, although it's not continuing development for now, or Toot, plus some closed source and paid options if you want to check them out. Make your profile, add a profile picture, add some flair to your bio. All right. Let's make your first toot. Yes, they started calling it tooting at some point as a joke, but they're changing it back. I'd recommend starting out with an introduction post using the hashtag introduction or introductions hashtag, or both, and tell the world about yourself. What are your hobbies? What do you do? What do you want to chat about? Just like joining a forum, a chat room, or a Discord server, or being in a new class for the first time, let people know who you are. Explore a bit, then come back so we can keep learning. That's the core of it. It's kind of like Twitter, but where the expectations and infrastructure are built less around shouting into the void and dunking on each other and more directly interacting and having real conversations. It's the little stuff. It's the content warning etiquette, which you can choose how to follow yourself. Don't listen to all of the advice, just pick and choose for yourself. The lack of quote boosting being the appropriate name for the equivalent to retweeting. And of course, the ultimate W, the complete lack of algorithm. Yeah. The only way to find posts is by people boosting them, searching for specific hashtags, or going to specific user profiles. If you're worried about losing your reach to shout your content by switching off of Twitter, that's probably not the place. This is a social website, and it's about time we learned that throwing content at a public wall isn't socializing. It's just yelling There are some search assist tools if you want to find more people to interact with, of course, such as the people directory at fediverse.info, or ideally, you would start by just interacting with the people in your instance and then following them, see who they follow and boost and things like that. Oh boy, I said instance. This might be where you get stuck or you're wanting things to be simplified, but I promise that it's easy and it's a good thing. You see, Mastodon is a decentralized web service. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Before you freak out, this has nothing to do with crypto, NFTs, or any of that. It's honestly tragic that the Silicon Valley blockchain bros have tainted the image of decentralization to most people, as the concept was around long before then and will hopefully be around long after. The decentralized web is a concept that honestly just harkens back to what the internet originally was. A bunch of computers that can connect to each other and communicate, but don't rely on any singular computer to keep everything going. When Twitter burns down, goes bankrupt, or becomes a bank, everyone's account and clout go down with it. I'd argue that's no longer a bad thing, but for many of us who spent a decade or more building up our profiles, discovering, ourselves alongside everyone else, or building a following, or really just appreciating the unprecedented and convenient access to contact other people or other creators in ways that just didn't happen over email or other social media sites, it kind of sucks. That's the problem. When a major CDN has outages and half of the internet goes down, disrupting work, play, and relaxation all at once, that's the problem. Decentralization is about reducing dependency on tech giants for basic things, moving power back into the hands of the people, and keeping the internet weird. Getting off my podium now. What does this mean for you?
If you've ever played an MMO, you know the experience of going from the big open server to a smaller instance for specific story quests or raid battles where only a limited party can participate at a time. You're still on the full server. You can still interact with and do other things with the people on it, but you also have this little instance to do your own thing. Or think of it like a bunch of cities within a state. Each city, or Mastodon instance in this case, has its own identity, culture, reasons to live there or avoid it, and rules and governance to be its own. But the city still has to follow some higher level rules and obligations set in by the state. Mastodon software and etiquette implied through functionality in this case. But every citizen of every city are also still citizens of the state. They can move freely through the state as they wish, chat or interact with other citizens in other cities, relocate themselves between cities, and stay in touch with people from every city they wish. There is a slight change here in that Mastodon instances could completely lock themselves out and restrict access in or communication out, or outright block other instances from being seen by theirs. This can get awkward in rare occasions where drastic action is made, such as entire instances blocking the entire game dev instance because of one person, but those even out with time as moderators fluctuate, plus you can always completely transplant your profile, followers, and follows, and so on, to another instance if you don't like what yours is doing. Plus, often this is a good thing. Truth Social, it uses Mastodon after all. Just most instances have it blocked. This has plenty of advantages in terms of decision-making, control, and privacy. There's no for-profit corporation or sync carrier in charge to push your instance to do bad things or to sell off your data. There's no data collection, there's no trackers, there's no ads, and there's no algorithm at all. There's not even plain text search for posts, which means you may struggle to vaguely search for a specific post you saw and lost track of, but strongly helps filter trolls and targeted harassment. The lack of algorithm is crucial, as is the point is to have conversations and socialize, not to push multiple generations to become addicts of scrolling content feeds, desperate for that slot machine dopamine. Federated services are nothing new either. Humanity has kind of always relied on federated services for survival. The post office, telephone carriers, libraries, all commonplace services that speak the same language and interact with each other in some regard, but are operated independently with some unique rules and a crap ton of resilience as a result.
Loading up the web UI and enabling advanced view from the settings, you can get a TweetDeck-like interface, but for free, because paying just to view your lists of posts is kind of nonsense. Let's cover what all you can look at. First, there's the home feed. These are the people that you follow, your friends or acquaintances or people you just like what they post. These posts are displayed in reverse chronological order as they come in. No algorithms, no recommendations. You can filter it to hide boosts and even replies from the feed if you purely just want the posts from only the people that you follow, which is totally fine. Feeling quiet though? Don't freak out. let's find some people to follow. Head on over to the local timeline to find other people in your instance. If you joined a smaller community instance, the admin probably has some recommended accounts for you to follow that it showed to you during sign up as well. These are just people who signed up through the same site as you. It's like people who are in the same Discord server as you. That's what the local timeline is. If you use Discord, that's what it's like. You can still talk to all the people from all the other servers if they're not blocked, but your profile is primarily hosted from that one instance. Your handle is identified with the instance in it as well. Instead of just @eposvox, I'm @eposvox @glitch.lgbt. It's kind of like an email address. Pretty simple. Posts are all email as a concept, but your email provider and client may differ wildly from everyone else, which is fine. You can still email anyone from any other domain. Yes, I do keep switching analogies here. That's because Mastodon and the greater federated services are its own thing. So there's no perfect parallel with other services. It's its own concept and paradigm. It'll make sense as we build it up if it hasn't already, but the combined analogies work. Here you can reply to people, follow them, see who they're boosting, and so on. But then you also have the federated tab. This is kind of like the r/all page on Reddit or the trending tab on YouTube, just without any of the upvotes or suggestions, just some actually influencing things. It's just reverse chronological there. Just the latest posts from literally everyone. Well, not literally everyone, actually. It's the 6 degrees of separation of Kevin Bacon kind of thing. It's based on everybody that you or people in your instance knows about and follows through mutuals, creating the federated web network of connections of something. It's generally not a good idea to wade through there, but you can if you're just looking to see what everyone's talking about at the moment, or you're desperate to just find people without using hashtags for some reason. Hopefully a feature will be developed to let you add other instances to your feed so you can peek into other communities. Important for people like me with so many varying interests that being locked into one instance based on a specific topic would be way too restrictive. In the meantime, you can add people you followed to lists, much like on Twitter or, sorting a contacts list, Google Plus circles, that kind of thing, and group them up by genre, the type of thing they usually post, interest area, etc. And then you can pin panels with lists to your window in this advanced web view to keep tabs on those groups, which is super handy. You can also pin panels with individual or groups of hashtags as well, which means you can just search for a specific topic and keep a feed of everyone posting about that topic to find. While you're tweaking things, you can customize your notifications panel. Either just look at mentions or you can filter specific things from it. I recommend filtering favorites or likes, as they don't do anything. They just say, hey, I liked this, but they don't feature your post in someone's feed. They don't increase the value of your post. The more you can train yourself to fight the instinct to be checking for likes on every post, the better your quality of life will be. When writing your posts, you can customize your post type based on privacy settings. Public is standard, visible to everyone everywhere. Unlisted is still visible to everyone, but it's removed from discovery settings such as hashtag searching and local and federated timelines. People can view it on your profile and followers can see it in their feeds, but that's it. Followers only shows to your followers, and mentioned people only. You get the idea. This is really powerful. Posts can be much longer than Twitter as well, but you're still limited to 4 images and short, small videos just to keep costs down for your server provider, for your instance admins. Images are capped to 8 megabytes, I believe, and then they get compressed from there, and videos are limited to 40 megabytes, which admittedly is not much to work with. You can run polls too. It's recommended adding image descriptions or alt text to help those with screen readers, and people will remind you of that. Simply stating that the image has already been described in the text can help make sure that folks know they aren't missing anything. Nice. Content warnings are a way to collapse the body of your text below a button, which can be used for lengthier posts to prevent from spamming your feed or to, protect people from certain subjects, almost like using a subject line for an email. This can be used to hide messages containing sensitive topics like violence, sexual assault, or other triggers, or it can just make it easier to ignore a bunch of posts on a specific topic, like the ongoing Twitter drama. There's no hard rules, just don't be a jerk. If you're tired of clicking to expand them like I was, in your preferences, you have full control over auto-expanding content warning posts, and you can still leave on blurring possibly sensitive images. Things like that, you get a lot of control. Anyone can set up and run an instance as long as you have a bit of coin and can use a web host, or a Raspberry Pi, or a Chromebook. People run those instances from those as well. There are more and more tools available to make setting up instances and things like that super simple. You can set up instances for topics that you care about. For work organizations, the Internet Archive provides a Honestly, just wonderful example of the kind of structure that goes into what what an organization should follow for their instance. Or you could even just run an instance for yourself as a way of self-verifying who you are so that people know you're the real deal. One of our Discord mods runs a Masto instance that a lot of us are in, and I'm pretty sure I heard him forgetting to use the push to talk while trying to justify to his wife while he was spending money on this project.
Hey everyone, I am Cujo, the admin for Mindly.social. I've been running my own Mastodon server since April of this year, so I'm still kind of new to it, but I figured I have some insight that I'm able to share with people who might be interested in running their own server. I was getting kind of tired of traditional social media. By that I mean social media that was being ran by corporations and kind of you had no say in how anything happened or why anything happened or in your data or anything like that. So I ended up looking into different alternatives and I found Mastodon. The servers that were currently out there were not really to my liking, so I just decided to spin up my own. I went the DIY routes because I wanted to start a community. I wanted to, build something myself instead of having everything dictated to me like I was on all the, corporate social media sites. First, it was just me and a couple of my friends for the first 7 months or so. Not a whole lot of, new users joined. Back in late October, I hit 100 users, and that was a huge milestone for me. I was like, that is awesome. Like, 100 people care about what I'm doing. 100 people are interested in this community. 100 people now have a home on the Fediverse that didn't have it before. Then things got a little crazy on the bird site, as people call it. We hit 100 users, and 24 hours later we hit 5,000 users. And that was about 2 weeks ago, and we're currently around 30,000 users. Lots of growing pains in that short amount of time, but definitely an interesting experience. Now you know why I started the server. Let's go over some pros and cons of running your own Mastodon server. So, one of the pros is, like I said, building a community. You get to dictate the terms and set the rules, set the topic, set the vibe of the whole environment, and basically what you say goes. If you want a server specific to ham radios, well, now you have a whole social media feed of just people talking about ham radios, because the only people on that server are people that are interested in that, and that is really cool to have the ability to bring together a niche community like that. It's something that you really can't do outside of maybe Discord. In my case, my server is a general, non-topic specific server, so when people are looking for a new place, mine's usually the first one they go to, so a lot of mine are, new signups. We have had a lot of people transfer into the server, and we've also had a lot of people transfer out of the server because, they'll join my server and go, yeah, the local timeline is nice and all, but I'm more interested in art, or I'm more interested in writing, or I'm more interested in tech. And then they move their account to the server that better fits them. That's totally cool. I have no issues with that. People can, join my server, hang out for a little bit, go to a different server. We're all in the same Fediverse, so it doesn't matter where they go. If I want to follow them and talk to them and interact with them, I still can. Another pro is you have control over all your data. There's a growing concern of privacy and all this, security and all these things that are basically behind the scenes that you have no idea what's going on. Well, you're running your own server, you have control over those things. You can delete all your stuff at a moment's notice. It's gone. If you're running your server and, you're concerned about privacy laws, you set up your server in a country that has really strict privacy laws. Simple as that. Now for the cons. Number one con, the financial aspect of it. It can get pricey depending on how big you want to scale it. Right now at 30,000 users, roughly about $60 to $70 a month after all said and done. Not a huge expense, but for a lot of people, that's definitely not worth it for them. If you want to run like a single user instance or an instance for you and 10 of your friends, you can probably do it as cheap as under $10 a month easily. if you have the knowledge to run the server yourself. Another con is if you decide to go with a big server, create a big server like I did, where you let everyone in, all of a sudden the decisions you're making aren't just for you. The decisions you're making are for everyone. So if you aren't comfortable with being in charge, making those decisions, this probably isn't for you. Have to make the decision to block or defederate another server. That impact is on everyone. That's not just, oh, I don't want to see that anymore. That's nobody in my server can see that anymore. That's usually a big thing. It's a lot of responsibility at that point. So I guess the question is, should you run your own Mastodon server? If you're asking yourself that, then the answer is probably yes. This is a very difficult question to answer because there are lots of factors involved, let's say. I guess the first one would be, if you didn't start your own server, where would you go? Where would you create an account on? Right now we have a big issue with a lot of the vast majority of users on Mastodon or on the Fediverse itself are on a handful of large servers. There's, I think last I checked, there was about 16,000 instances out there, servers, that were online and accessible. The majority of them, I think it was like close to 80% of them, were like single user instances. They had one user on them when I checked. There's a couple hundred that have over 10,000, and then the rest are, usually very small instances, private instances, invite-only stuff. So with that being said, this decentralized platform, well, if like the top 10 servers have like 80-something% of the users, it's not really that decentralized, is it? Like, those top 10 people that own those servers can dictate the direction of the network, basically. They could easily say, we don't want anybody that's got under 10 users, we don't want to talk to them. They block them. Nothing we can do about it. All of a sudden, 80% of, the network is inaccessible to us. We can't talk to those 80% of the users. They can block us. They can make this agreement where, hey, if you don't follow these rules or you don't, agree to our terms, we're just not going to federate with you. And that's a problem. What we need now is we need more small servers, and we need to get the people off of those big servers. One of the biggest complaints right now is the biggest server out there right now, which is Mastodon.social. People are complaining it's, under-moderated. Well, I don't know how big their mod team is, but I think they have close to 500,000 users, so yeah, that's going to be hard to moderate something like that. What we need to do is we need to get people off of that server and onto the smaller servers. We need to get a big chunk of those users onto smaller servers and split them up to, a point where it balances out the network. If you are looking at getting onto one of the main servers, the top 10 big ones, or starting your own, start your own. Don't go to the big ones. Start your own. Invite all your friends over to that one. Find people that, have similar interests, invite them over. Say, hey, you tired of all the BS that's going on in that server? You're tired of your local timeline just, being spam links or whatever it is? Come to my smaller server. Invite people over. That's what we need. Now, if you're thinking, I like ham radios. I found this server with 500 people. They all talk about ham radios all day, every day. That's all they do. That might be the server for you. No reason to start another one because that one's already there. That little niche that you want, that exists. Go help that server. Take whatever money you were going to spend on a server, throw some of it towards the admin, let them, help them pay for that server, and bam, you're helping build that community right there. If you are looking around and you're like, they don't have a server for something I'm interested in. I want a server that's all about fishing lures. I don't want to talk about the fishing rods. I don't want to talk about fishing. I just want to talk about the lures. Those things are cool. Hey, make a server. Maybe you'll have, 10, 15 people that are interested. Maybe you'll have 200 people that are interested. Maybe there's 1,000 people out there that are like, I just want to talk about lures. Start that server. Build that community. All of a sudden, people that are on those big servers that are like, man, nobody's here talking about fishing lures. All of a sudden, bam, there's a server. They're going to start, migrating over. You've got this community that you've just built based on a topic that really interests you that wasn't there before. Yeah, if that's the case, build the server. Get it. Whatever you got to do, start that server. Yeah, this has been my experience. I have a lot more to talk about on the subject, but I think that Epos is probably not too happy with how long this video is already, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this one a little short. Maybe might do a part 2 later somewhere. I don't know, I'll talk to him about it, see what's in, see what's in the cards for us. So, thanks for watching. Peace out.
Now that you've gotten set up and comfortable, it's time to grab your computer screen or phone and just chuck it out the window. I'm about to blow your mind. The account you use for Mastodon can be used to interact with posts from image sites, blogging sites, streaming and video sites, and more. Altogether, that one profile interacting with posts across a huge family of services. This is called the Fediverse, and as silly and Trekkian as it may sound, it's honestly kind of magical and shows the potential of decentralized web services and interoperability that NFT bros just keep dreaming of. You can run your own Instagram-like service with PixelFed, host your own videos with PeerTube, publish fan fiction with Write Freely, and then stream Q&A with Owncast natively in your website, all while interacting with those posts from the same federated account over on Mastodon, or misclick or something. Unfortunately, as things are currently set up, your Write Freely blog, your Peer2 website, whatever, will effectively have their own federated profiles that they post to whenever you make a new post on those sites. So you can't sync the output to one account, but you can follow it and boost it to your viewers and followers and such, for example. It's a weird system at the moment. I think it's being worked on. These federated services are built upon the same API called ActivityPub. This is a unified content protocol, almost like a glorified RSS feed that contains every piece of content, well, the core piece of the content. Effectively, every post on every website is speaking the same language and can all talk to each other. This is really hard to wrap my head around, but the way it was easiestly explained to me was that Mastodon posts or Miskey posts or PeerTube video posts saying that the videos are up, they're actually just an ActivityPub message that each platform can read, like an email, if they're shown it, and then they can do something with that. So Mastodon uses it to create microblogging posts like Twitter equivalents. PeerTube uses it to make posts that contain video uploads off of their server, PixelFed for images, and so on. This takes all of the advantages of a traditional kind of single sign-on like option, like using your Google account to sign into other websites, and then cranks it up to 11. Because you could self-host whatever federated instance of a service your account is based upon and completely own your data and privacy, which means keeping it not only, away from prying eyes, but also being able to erase it in a snap if that's what you need or want to do.
Where do we go from here? Is usually the question I get asked the most after videos like this. Instead of making you wait for my next video, it's already available right now to watch over on my own streaming site, Nebula. Nebula is a creator-owned video site built and shaped by me and my creator friends, such as Low Spec Gamer, Thomas Frank, Renee Ritchie, and plenty of others. Polyphonics on there, Legal Eagle, so many awesome creators. My videos are higher quality there, ad-free, and now early on Nebula. So if you want to see my next video and keep learning how to master your tech and make things weird, that would be where to go. The best way to sign up for Nebula is with CuriosityStream, another great streaming site full of thousands of documentaries and entertaining content, including NYC Revealed, all about how the underlying infrastructure of New York City makes it tick. Just like this video was learning all about the underlying means of social media and how those things interact with each other so that you know how to navigate it better. We worked out a fantastic bundle with CuriosityStream where if you sign up at the link below, you get Nebula bundled with it for free at just $14.79 for a year of amazing content. 2 sites for the price of one at an amazing low price. Get the best deal in streaming and see my videos early, plus my documentary series print screen at curiositystream.com/ebos.
We can dive more into the rest of the Fediverse if you're interested. I would love to cover, hosting streaming with Owncast, or your own YouTube alternative with PeerTube, and Flickr and Tumblr are both apparently integrating ActivityPub soon, which is very exciting. But I'm still digging in myself. I've moved over my blog to a Write Freely setup at analogdreams.blog and adhd.analogdreams.blog. Since Twitter's review is shutting down, I'm going to be setting up Bookworm to track what books I've been reading each year, and I'll be completely moving from Instagram to PixelFed soon as well, most likely. The rabbit hole is endless. I'll have a couple links below for you to discover more Fediverse services if you're interested. Let's make the net weird again. Learn how to take control over your privacy online by watching my web browser exploration playlist right over here, or click this video to discover how to make your PC weird again. Be kind, rewind.